Hello once again, this is Keziah, level 80 Draenei Survival Hunter from Burning Blade US, back with Volume 3 in my How to Huntard series. This installment is called Gear, Enchants, Gems, and Glyphs. It's about what gear to choose, mainly the stats you want to focus on, and how to gem and enchant the gear once you choose it, and what glyphs to choose to enhance your DPS overall. First of all, it's pretty obvious that the Hunter is a male-wearing class. Blizzard has given us a very specific avenue of gear to choose that we share with Enhancement Shamans. The difference between the two, of course, is that for Shamans, leather is also pretty viable most of the time, whereas with us Hunters, not so much, and I'll get into why once we get into the stat portion of the video. First and foremost, in a Survival Hunter's stat priority list is Agility. For many reasons, Agility is the dominant stat for the Survival Hunter. Exposed Weakness and Lightning Reflexes are chief among these, but not the only reasons. Survival Hunters and Marksman Hunters both get bonus Agility, but it is Survival that has the better advantage. 15% agility on top of what you already have is pretty significant, and exposed weakness giving you 25% of your agility as attack power is a massive AP boost once you get high numbers of agility. Combine that with a 3% of agility that you get from 3 of 3 in Hunting Party, and that's an 18% boost to agility from stats alone. Stack this stat as much as possible. We get 1 AP per Agi base with additional benefits once you add in the talents we have, so it's pretty readily apparent that you should stack as much Agi as you possibly can get your hands on. When it comes to gemming Agi, my rule of thumb is pretty simple. First of all, the meta gem I personally use is the Relentless Earth Siege Diamond, which is 21 agility and a 3% increase to critical strike damage. The activation gems for this meta are one of each gem color. So you're going to need 1 yellow or orange and 1 blue or purple gem, or just 1 green gem to activate your meta. I would suggest going with 1 orange and 1 purple, that way you can split it up and still be stacking agility. Usually, if the socket bonus is 6 agility or more, I will gem this socket for the bonus. Anything else is usually a waste of time. Obviously, if you need a hit cap, then using straight hit gems is fine, but you never really want to use a pure blue gem as there aren't any really good stats for us from the blue gems. Sure, stamina is nice, but 10 Agi 15 stam is much better. When it comes to choosing your orange gem, base it off of what you need more: hit, crit, or haste. I usually go with Agi haste gems because my crit is too high at the moment, but you need to adjust this to your own personal gear set. Hit rating is a first-rate stat for pretty much every single class. For Hunters, the hit cap against level 83 mobs, which is the level of all raid bosses in Wrath, is 263, which is 8%. If you're Alliance and can count on a Draenei buff in your raid, then you need to get 231 or 7% hit. Now you can get this from gear, spec, gems, or enchants, so if you are under hit cap, your first priority is to hit one of these numbers. Every shot you miss is a pure DPS loss, so it stands to reason that you never want to miss any shots. Focused aim can get you up to 3% hit, which is pretty huge, so it isn't a bad choice. Each percent of hit is 32.8 hit rating, so gem and enchant accordingly. There are several choices when enchanting for hit, and I'll go over them briefly here. For weapons, you can choose either the Titanium Weapon Chain, which gives 28 hit rating, or Enchant Weapon Accuracy, which gives 25 hit rating. Both of these can be applied to either 1 or 2-handed items, so if you're dual wielding, these are decent choices. There's a 20 hit enchant for gloves called Precision that is a decent choice, as well as the Ice Walker enchant, which gives both 12 hit and 12 crit, so that is an equally good choice to pick up a little bit extra. Now to address haste versus crit versus armor pen. This is a pretty big discussion for survival hunters, as the scale is sliding depending on your gear set. I personally am sitting at about 54% crit completely unbuffed at this point, and 67% static in raids, so once you get up around 50% crit, it's a good idea to start stacking other stats. Haste is something that seems to be contested for survival hunters, though I can't really see why. The haste soft cap, meaning the amount it takes to get your steady shot to hit 1.5 seconds, the global cooldown, is around 523 haste. The number is pretty hard to hit with the current gear choices, but you want to get as close as possible with the gear you are choosing. The easiest way to illustrate this is with a weapon choice. In 25-man talk, you have the choice of 2 viable weapons for the hunter. One is the Lupine Longstaff off of Twins, and the other is the Archon Glaive off of a noob. Obviously, if you're Horde, these are named different, but they have the same stats. If you're sitting at 50% crit or just below it, you want to pick up the Lupine Longstaff because it's itemized with AP, Armor Pen, and Haste, as opposed to the Archon Glaive, which is itemized with AP, Armor Pen, and Crit. You're not going to hit Haste Soft Cap without doing some serious detriment to your damage, so I would suggest once you hit Crit Soft Cap, try to stick with picking Haste over Crit. And besides, more haste, you have more auto shots per fight, and for me, my auto shots are still pretty up there in my damage chart. Armor Pen is a tricky topic for survival hunters as a whole. Our main nuke, Explosive Shot, isn't affected by Armor Pen, so it's obvious that it's less important than some of our other stats, but it still affects Auto Shot, Steady Shot, Aim Shot, and Multi-Shot, so it's not a garbage stat by any stretch of the imagination. I usually only take Armor Pen if I can dump crit for it. As I said before, my crit is high enough as it is, but I will never replace haste with Armor Pen as a rule, unless of course the attack power or Agi boost is too huge to ignore. So use this stat in moderation, but don't ignore it completely as it will handily up your DPS. Intellect is another key stat for hunters because of the careful aim stat, which gives us 1 AP for every 1 point of intellect. That's a pretty huge AP boost for hunters, and also is the reason why leather gear isn't usually a quality choice for us. Losing 50 or 60 attack power to pick up another stat is usually not worth it unless you're in dire need of certain stats. Stamina is a good stat to stack as well, though not a priority in any shape or form. Serve hunters get a hefty 15% boost to stamina from Survivalist. That leads to gaining 30% of your stamina as AP. So every 3 stamina equals 1 attack power. Not bad for a stat that's on 90% of your gear. That's pretty much it as far as what you need to stack and in what order you should be stacking them. Let's go over the best enchants for your gear slots. On your helm you have the Arcanum of Torment, which you can get from the Knights of the Ebon Blade. Shoulders, Greater Inscription of the Axe, which you get from the Sons of Hodir. Back, Major Agility, it's 22 agility. Chest, don't be cheap, go for powerful stats here. It's plus 10 to all stats. It's worth the extra gold, and most raiding guilds want to see this enchant as a sign of dedication. Wrists, Greater Assault is 50 attack power. If you're a leather worker like me, 130 attack power to bracers is lovely. Hands, Major Agility or Precision is the way to go depending on if you're at hit cap or not. Belt, throw a gem and an Eternal Belt Buckle for the winning combo here. Legs, Ice Scale Leg Armor is great all around. Feet, go for Superior Agility or Ice Walker depending on your need of hit. For your ranged weapon, you need to once again choose between Haste and Crit. Both are 40 points respectively, with Heartseeker being Crit and Sunscope being Haste, so choose wisely. One-handed weapons, go for Superior Potency, which is 65 AP, or Accuracy depending on hit need. Two-handers go for Massacre, Om Nom Nom, 110 attack power. The final subject for this video is Glyphs. There are 5 major glyphs that cover the bases as far as survival DPS goes. The minor glyphs are important, but not to your overall DPS, so I'm not going to cover them here. If you're still curious about minor glyphs, you can always look up my Hunter Keziah and go from there. The main 5 glyphs you can choose from as survival DPS are as follows. Glyph of Steady Shot. This one is an obvious choice because it provides 10% bonus damage with your Steady Shot to any target afflicted with Serpent Sting, which should be any target you're DPSing at all times. Glyph of Serpent Sting. While this one might not be obvious because it only lengthens the amount of time Serpent Sting is up by 6 seconds, less application of Serpent Stings equals more global cooldowns in which to use other shots. Glyph of Explosive Shot. Great for hunters at lower gear levels, provides 5% extra crit on each tick of Explosive Shot, not as viable as you get closer and closer to crit cap. Glyph of Kill Shot reduces the cooldown of Kill Shot by 6 seconds, so it's an obvious damage boost. Glyph of Aim Shot. More aim shots per fight is always good. I personally use Steady, Serpent, and Aim Shot, but the choice here really depends on your gear, spec, rotation, and the encounter you're glyphing for. For instance, in the Anub Iraq hard mode fight, I use Glyph of Kill Shot because the time spent under 20% is much higher than in normal fights, and as most of my damage is coming from volley for this fight, it's not useful to have Aim Shot waiting off of cooldown. Also, since I am near the crit cap, I don't use Explosive Glyph because the glyph would be better purposed by one of the other aforementioned. So that pretty much covers all the base as far as gems, enchants, gear, and glyphs go. Once again, thanks for checking out the series, and I hope it helped. Happy